I had no idea it was going to explode the way it did. I think it has millions and millions of views. So yeah, I think that's got more attention than the rugby over the last couple of weeks. You almost feel like you're in this little bubble and nothing gets done outside of it. Your life and admin gets on pause while you're in camp. I'm a bit of a weird bloke. I often sit in a bath on the morning of a game. I run myself a nice hot bath. I'll put some relaxing music on and sit in there for about half an hour. School rugby is one of my favourite memories of rugby. When we play Northampton, I hate them all. When they're not wearing the Northampton shirt, we get on really well.
Everyone, I'm Arthur Dickens and this is my Rugby Legends podcast. In each episode, I interview an amazing rugby player or coach to get their insight and advice for young rugby players just like me who are keen to learn and get better. In this episode, I'm very excited to be speaking with Freddie Steward, Leicester Tigers and England fullback. Freddie has over 40 caps for England and is one of the best in the world under the high ball, both in defence and attack. He's big, quick and rapidly becoming a Tigers legend. Freddie has well over 100 appearances for the club and won the Premiership in 2022. I hope you find Freddie's knowledge and wisdom as helpful as I did. Enjoy. So first, Freddie, I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Happy to be here. Glad you the England top on as well.
Thank you. So firstly, Freddie, what's it like being in England camp? Can you tell us a bit about the time when you're not playing the actual matches?
So we stay in a very, very fancy hotel called Pennyhill Park, which has got an enormous spa. So the lads love that. That's probably the most important bit. It's what most lads will talk about when they talk about camp. But it's a really nice environment. You room together. So my roommate's Henry Slade. So we've been rooming together for a long time. And you have breakfast together, lunch together, dinner together. You're with each other all the time. So there's a real good bit of camaraderie. And it's a great place to be. It's intense when you're training, for sure. But we usually finish up about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock every day. So we get very bored after. I'm sure you've seen that viral TikTok that we made. Lads get up to all sorts. Some boys play cards. Some idiots film TikToks like myself. There's a bit of darts. We play some traitors. So there's loads of stuff going on. So it's a good place to be.
With the TikTok, did that just come across or was it there?
Well, we have a fine system in camp. So if anyone's late to trainings, meetings, missing physio slots, you have to make a TikTok dance and they get played in the meeting. But this one, Tommy decided he was going to post it for everyone to see, which was, very good of him. But it was a good laugh. It was a good bit of fun. It was something silly. It wasn't very serious and it was received well, which is good news.
Did you ever think it would have gone viral?
No. If anything, I thought we were going to get absolutely destroyed by everyone on social media calling us Muppets. I think a few people did say that, but I had no idea it was going to explode the way it did. I think it has millions and millions of views. So yeah, I think that's got more attention than the rugby over the last couple of weeks. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's got over 10 million views now, something like that.
It's a lot of people, mate. It's a lot of people watching us dance.
What do you like most about being in camp?
I just love being around all the lads. I think it's one of the best bits about what we do as rugby players. We get to spend a lot of time as blokes together. And like I said earlier, we spend so much time together when we're in camp. There's some great stuff going on. We take the mick out of each other constantly. We're always winding each other up and spending time together. And I love that part of it. I'm a bit of a social butterfly, so I like being around the lads a lot. And that's my favourite part of camp, definitely.
Who would you say is the funniest?
Who's the funniest? Good question. Well, Pollock's obviously a bit of a character, isn't he? But we usually laugh at him, not with him. But there's some really funny lads in there. Who would I say? Alex Mitchell. He's another lad, another Saints lad. He's got you're too young to have watched The Office and Ricky Gervais, but he's got that sort of David Brent style character. He's brilliant.
And what would you say you like least about being in camp?
What do I like least about being in camp? That's a really good question. I think probably the intensity of it. So obviously at the weekends we go and play the games, but there's a lot of eyes on us. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of expectation. So it's hard to get away from because you're in camp for so long. It's hard to get out, so you don't get to see your family very much until after the game. But lads with wives and kids, I think, find it really difficult because they don't get to see their families as much as they would do if they were at home. So that's definitely a difficult part of it. You almost feel like you're in this little bubble and nothing gets done outside of it. Your life and admin gets on pause while you're in camp. But it is an enjoyable place to be, but yeah, it's mentally can be tough. When things are going well, it's really good. So at the minute, it's brilliant. So fingers crossed it keeps going that way.
Yeah, well done in the autumn nations. England are brilliant. So did you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. Compared to last year where we were struggling a bit, we've taken some real strides with a real good group at the minute. So hopefully we keep winning, mate. That's the plan.
Who would you say out of the England squad, who would you say got your autumn nations player of the tournament?
I will pick Guy Pepper. So he featured in the summer and did a brilliant job out in Argentina. He's such a young lad and he's playing such an important position in that back row. And there's so many brilliant players in those positions in the squad, but he played all 4 tests. He did a brilliant job. He's brave, he's tough, and he's only, well, you're young. He's early 20s, but he's got such a mature head on his shoulders. He's very wise above his years, but he's a brilliant rugby player. So he smashed it this autumn.
Thank you. And I don't like tackling my teammates in training because I'm scared I'll hurt them and they're my mates. How do you handle this part of training?
It's not a very pretty part of the game, is it, tackling? Well, when we train, so we don't, when we're training and we're practicing, there's not very many times where we're full contact. So a lot of the time we'll hit hard still, but we'll sort of hit and grab. And there's a bit of respect between the teammates that, you know, if you've been hit, you go down and you play on. So there's not too much whack in the training week. But I suppose if you're worried about hurting your mates, you've just got to remember that when you're on the pitch, it's just rugby, isn't it? And then the beautiful part of the sport is that when you finish, it doesn't matter how hard you tackle them, you can sit down and have a laugh about it afterwards. So yeah, don't you worry about that.
It's very helpful. Thank you.
Good man. That's okay.
And as a schoolboy, you played fly half and inside centre. What took you to fullback?
So I didn't move to fullback till I was about 16 years old. So I used to play fly half and centre when I was at school and at my rugby club on a Sunday. And then I was in the Leicester Tigers, not the academy just yet, but the pre-bit, when there are lots of lads and it's really difficult, but there weren't many fullbacks. So a coach at the time said to me, just give it a try. There were so many good 10s and so many good centres. So I'm not sure it was anything to do with my skill sets. It was more just how I could get picked at the time, and fullback was the best spot. But I played it, I fell in love with it, and I just absolutely love it to bits. I'd struggle to see myself anywhere else. It's a fun position to play.
Do you ever miss playing those other positions?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a bit easier at school and at club rugby. I'm not sure inside centre would be too much fun at test level. I think they get through a lot of work, those boys. But oh no, I'd never say no. I'd love to play lots of positions. And my advice to you, mate, and all the younger lads watching is to just play as many positions as you can when you're growing up, because you get to learn so many different skills, which will help you when you finally pick that one as you get older.
Can you tell us a bit about your journey from Norwich School to make your debut game for Leicester Tigers?
I was at Norwich School, moved there with my brother when I was about 10 years old, and started to take rugby a bit more seriously then. And we were lucky we had a good year at school, so loved playing rugby. And Leicester Tigers, they have all sorts of centres around the area, and my family home is about 2.5 hours away from Leicester, but it's still the closest club. So they had these little academy centres out in Norfolk, and that's where I started playing. And it's really tough when you're a kid because there's hundreds and hundreds of players and everyone wants to be a professional rugby player. So you have to just really enjoy it. And that's another bit of advice I give you, just enjoy what you do. And I just loved it. And from there on, played in those Norfolk centres and was fortunate enough to be offered a contract at Leicester when I was 16 in the academy. And that gets very serious at that point. And even then, you're still in a squad of 40, 50 lads. And at the end of it, there's only a handful of you that get offered that golden ticket. But I had to work unbelievably hard. And I couldn't have done it without my parents. So make sure you keep thanking them when they drive you around to play your rugby, because they play a massive part in it all. They make a big sacrifice. So I wouldn't be where I am today without them, that's for sure. And then I had to move to Leicester when I left school. It was very new to me. I'm a bit of a home bird. I grew up all my life in Norfolk and at home, so it was very different. I was suddenly living in a house of rugby players away from my family, so I found it difficult to start with. Um, and then I just had to work really hard and wait for an opportunity, and it came finally. And from there on, I've just tried to work as hard as I can, stay true to myself, be honest, be open, and just work hard.
What do you enjoy most about playing fullback?
I think the freedom. I think because in attack, you're not really prescripted a role, so you can sort of come in the line wherever you want. I like being behind the defensive line. I do love tackling, believe it or not. I know I stand at the back and look pretty, but I love the mind games, and it's almost like a game of chess between the fullback and the other team's fly half. They're trying to kick and find grass and find corners and put wingers away on edges, and you've got to try and counter that and be in the right position all the time. So mentally, it's very tough. I've got to be on it all the time. I can't slip off ever in a game. But I just love it. It's a great position, and I love the aerial contest as well. That's my favourite bit.
Yeah, no, I want to have a go at fullback soon if I grow.
Well, there's some shorter fullbacks as well, mate. You don't have to be tall. Don't you worry about that.
And as a fullback, which other position on the rugby pitch do you rely on the most?
So I would definitely say my wingers. So as a three, so you've got the fullback and obviously the two wingers, and we're almost like a mini team. So we're always talking, always shouting at each other, pointing at each other, telling each other where to go. Because, we have to almost work in like this fluid pendulum together. So it's very difficult sometimes when there's 80,000 people screaming at the Allianz, but you've got to try and shout as loud as you can. And we rely on each other a lot and work hard for each other. So yeah, definitely the wingers. But they get to score the tries. I don't get to score as many tries.
Next time out the Allianz, I'll make sure to keep it more quieter.
I'm not sure that will help, but you can try your best.
And which players inspired you growing up? And what would you say was inspiring about them?
I would say, who did I used to watch when I was growing up? Well, Johnny Wilkinson when I was younger, he was the man. So he was a player I always used to watch. I used to love goal kicking when I was younger. So Johnny, one of the best in the world at that, and still is probably one of the best to ever do it. So I used to love watching him kick, and he used to do some big tackles, and he's not the biggest bloke in the world, but he'd punch miles above his weight, and I just loved his toughness and his resilience. So he was the bloke I looked up to.
Yeah, because I saw some videos on Leicester Tigers and England TikTok of you goal kicking.
Yeah, I've not had many of the games yet. I'm working on that, mate. I'm trying to get in the captain's ear, but you never know. One day when I'm needed, hopefully I can step up and contribute.
Exactly. And what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone if they wanted to play fullback?
What is one piece of advice I would give? I would say never take your eyes off the ball. So even when you're defending, it's hard sometimes because you stood so far away to stay concentrating and to have in mind what's going on. But the more you can just stay engaged, keep watching the ball at all times, keep watching the players who you think are going to put you in a bit of trouble, so the other team's fire. Because often you can almost predict what they're going to do. So if you see them drop deep, you might know that they're going to kick. So reading body language and always staying engaged in the game, that would be my advice.
If I've played fullback, I'll make sure to take that on.
Good man. Yeah, there you go.
Who's the most difficult player you've had to defend against?
There's been a few. I would have to say Manu Tuilagi. So he used to play with me at Leicester, which was easy when he's on my team, but then he went and signed for Sale Sharks, and I remember a couple of times we played them. I was like a little roadblock, and he would just go boom. and carry running. He is ridiculously strong and powerful. And I think a lot of players would say the same about him. He's pretty horrible to come up against, but he's a great guy.
How would you say you handled tackling the people you didn't really like to tackle?
To be honest, try not to think about it too much. That's what I do. I think the more I think about it, the more you think, oh, what am I doing? So try and think less and just put all your weight and put your head in the spokes and try and get everything behind it that you can and just fully commit. Because more often than not, you can achieve more than your body thinks is possible sometimes. So just throw everything into it, and you can probably get some bigger guys than you down, definitely.
What rituals do you have before a game?
So I'm a bit of a weird bloke. I often sit in a bath on the morning of a game. I run myself a nice hot bath. I'll put some relaxing music on, and I'll just sit in there for about half an hour. I like to stay as relaxed as possible in the mornings of games because I don't want to waste any, emotional energy too early and get too psyched up before we get to the stadium. So that's what I do, mate. I don't light any candles, but I jump in the bath and put a bit of music on.
What music is it?
It is 1980s, so a bit before your time, mate. Um, Bit of disco music, bit of chilled out music. I like a bit of ABBA. You must know ABBA.
What kind of song? What songs does he produce? Oh, Mamma Mia. Yeah.
Yeah, Mamma Mia. Yeah, brilliant. Nice, easy music to listen to. Keeps my mind nice and calm. So that's my ritual.
Thank you. And are there any mantras you live by?
Well, to not have any regrets, that's a big one. And it's quite a cliche thing to say. I know lots of people say that, but I like to just take everything in my stride. I never like to look back after a game and think, oh, I could have done this and I could have done that. And the other one would just to just live in the moment. I'm terrible at planning after my girlfriend tells me up all the time because I struggle to look beyond the next day. So I just like to enjoy the moment I'm in and take it all in and take it day by day. And just try and stay as positive and as happy as I can.
Thank you. What's the best thing about being a professional rugby player?
The best thing I would say, and it's not necessarily just professional rugby players, I think this is probably true for rugby players everywhere, is just being able to play with your best mates. I think that's, one of the greatest things that you can feel as a person is stepping out there and having a bit of fun with your mates and whacking people. And it's a nice feeling. Teamwork is the best thing ever. I love being part of a team, and I think that is by far the most important thing and the best thing about rugby, definitely.
As you talk about your best mates, who's your best mate?
Who's my best mate? So at Leicester, my best mate is Jack Van Portfleet. He's actually downstairs at the minute. He's on his PlayStation. So we live together. So we grew up in Norfolk together. So I've known him for years and years. We used to play each other when we were about 9, 10 years old. So we've been on this whole journey together. So we're very, very close. And then in the England camp, weirdly, I get on quite well with the Northampton Saints boys because there's a big rivalry between Leicester and Saints. So we're not supposed to get on really. So when we play Northampton, I hate them all. When they're not wearing the Northampton shirt, we get on really well. They're a good group of lads and they're a good laugh. So yeah, some good people in there.
Thank you. How do you deal with not getting picked?
It's very difficult sometimes because the easy thing to do is to start blaming everything else and almost victimize yourself. So the first thing I do is take a few deep breaths. And then what I find best is to just look at the bigger picture because it's very easy to think in that moment that the whole world's crumbling down and everything's going against you. But it's important to look at the bigger picture and look at the positive things. And the last couple of years or not a couple of years, but last 2 years particularly, I've been really hard because I wasn't playing much at England. But what it has been for me is a great learning curve. I think failure's good sometimes. You need to not win all the time. You can't be successful in everything you do. So it's good to have bad days. It's good to, be knocked down a peg or two, and you have to learn how to get back up. So there's some good life lessons along the way.
So Freddie, do you have any moments where you have doubt or start questioning yourself?
No, all the time. It's very easy to doubt yourself and question yourself. And I still have those thoughts, after a game where I've not, played as well as I would have wanted to, I always think, oh God, am I really good enough to be at this level? And those thoughts sort of creep into your mind, but you've just got to try and stay as positive as you can and remember the things that got you there. And that's what I do.
If you weren't a pro rugby player, would you think you'd be doing that?
You've got lots of good questions, haven't you?
Thank you.
I used to, when I was your age, I used to love reading books about detectives and criminals and all that stuff. So I would like to think I might not be clever enough, but I potentially would have loved to have been a lawyer, maybe in criminal law or something like that, or a detective, maybe in the police force. That was my big interest. So something like that, I reckon.
What job that would be?
Yeah, a bit different to the rugby pitch, but I'm sure it would still be fun.
Who is the best player you've played with or against?
I would say the best player I've played with is definitely George Ford. So I played with George when he was at Leicester for a couple of years, and obviously at England as well. And he is just a true professional. He is the perfect rugby player in my eyes. He does everything that a rugby player needs to do. He does his recovery, he does his studying of the teams that we play at the weekend. And with George, when you're on the pitch with him, he makes so many decisions for everyone else. For me, that's the mark of a great rugby player. He gives everyone else so much time and space, and makes everyone else's job very easy. So when I'm stood at him at the back, he's always telling me what to do, and he's a great leader and a great role model and a brilliant rugby player. So I'd have to say George Ford.
Yeah, he's a great drop kicker too.
And he's a great drop kicker as well. Yeah, that definitely contribute.
Do you ever think about life after rugby? Do you have any thoughts about coaching, for example?
I have thought about coaching. So when I left school when I was 18, I didn't really know yet whether rugby was going to be a full-time job for me, because there's lots of scary things happening and contracts, and you never really know for sure. So I went to Loughborough University, and I did some studying. I got a degree in economics. So that was sort of my backup plan, just in case the rugby didn't work out. I've completely forgotten everything I learnt, but hopefully in a few years, well, hopefully more than a few years' time, when I get a little bit older and retire, I can call on that degree, and hopefully that will help me out a bit. I think coaching would be very stressful. So I don't know if I want to do that yet, but I love rugby enough to consider it. So we'll see how that works out.
So, Freddie, how was it playing schoolboy rugby at a high level?
It was brilliant. School rugby is one of my favourite memories of rugby. I used to love it because you're at school, and you get to play with your best and your closest mates. And in that moment, it's the most important thing in the world. So I used to love it. The pitches were rubbish. You used to get covered in muds, charge around, and it was a bit of an escape, because I know school can be a bit treacherous at times, lots of books and homework and all that boring stuff, which is important. It's not boring, it's important. But I used to love rugby because for me, that was the escape from all that stuff. So yeah, good fun.
Do you have any friends that were at your school that you still talk to now?
Yes, I do. I'm very fortunate that I was at school with a couple of lads who I'm still very close with today. They've supported me the whole way through my journey. And they come to, well, almost all of my games. My favourite memory is when they came out to France a couple of years ago at the World Cup, and we had a nice photo and a couple of drinks all together. But yeah, they're a huge part of my life, and I love them very much. So I'm very grateful for them.
What a group of friends.
Exactly. They're important, mate. You get friends for life. So yeah.
Thank you. And as a fellow Norwich City supporter, what do you make of their season so far and the change in manager?
Well, it's not been very pretty, has it? It's not been much fun. It's the first thing I do when I finish a game. I pull my phone out of my bag and I check the Norwich result, and unfortunately, there's been a lot of losses, hasn't there? Jack is also a Norwich fan, so we actually watched the game last night against Oxford, and we obviously blew it in the 90th minute. But I think hopefully the new manager will be good. Hopefully we don't go down to League One, but fingers crossed.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah.
And last question. Which of your mates do you reckon would be a great guest on my podcast?
I think Ennis Genge would be very interesting. He's a brilliant character. When you get to know him and he gets chatting, he is very funny. And I know he's done a few podcasts before, so I'll have to have a word with him and see if we can get him.
Thank you very much, Freddie, and thank you very much for taking the time to be our podcast. I really appreciate it.
No worries, Arthur. It's my pleasure.